welcome to Trisha's Cards and Crafts, and I'm just thought I'd jump on today. I've been away for a couple of days, if you haven't already known about that. My daughter and I went to Germany, to Cologne, to see the Christmas markets, but so I wasn't here to do my live on Friday. I was in Cologne, so I thought I'd jump on tonight and just do a quick project with you. I thought it'd be nice if I showed you how I made these little boxes. They're dome-topped boxes, and I found them on YouTube, and they were a couple of different places. A couple of people have done them. The first person I saw, it was in German, so it was called a Stampin' Club, but I don't know what the person's name is. Couldn't work that one out. But there's also one, Craft with Jane and Sally Stampers. They've both done videos on how to make these, and I just thought this would be great. So I've made a couple of samples up. So this one is the size that I'm going to make tonight. I'm not going to do it like this. I thought this would look okay, but after I've done it, I've decided I don't like the way that it's turned out. What the other people had done had put the holes on the inside, so you don't see any of the holes at all, and you don't see the cord, just you see the bow, not the rest of it. So I think it looked better done a different way. I haven't decorated them at all. I'm just going to leave that. You can do that, sort out how you exactly want to do that yourself. The base is 3 by 3 on this one, and I'll tell you the measurements for the rest of it in a moment. You use it 2 different pieces of card, one piece of card and one piece of designer series paper, but you could make it out of 2 pieces of designer series paper. It's completely up to you. It doesn't matter. That part of it doesn't. And then this one, I used this one was Pool Party, and this is a retired piece of designer series paper from last year. I think it was the Gnomes, but I thought to try it out, I'd use this paper. And this one I'm using the Brightened, oh dear, I've lost it again. Bright and Merry Bold and Bright. There we go. The Merry Bold and Bright designer series paper. I've used that. There's lots of bright and cheerful papers in here, but I just thought I'd use this one. So I've got the lights on here, and then I've used some Starry Sky cardstock for this, and some gold trim that comes in a pack of 2. I'm not sure whether this one is still in the catalogue, but this one definitely is. It's the gold and silver, gold and Simply Elegant trim. There we go. So I will use I think I'll use the gold trim like this one for this project. So I've already done the cutting, and I've done some of the scoring. I haven't done all of the scoring. So you need 2 pieces. Whichever, it doesn't really matter which way around you do it. You can have the wider piece in the designer series paper, or you can have it in the card, or if you're doing it both in designer series paper, you need one piece that is 4 inches wide and one that is 3, because we're going to fold, we're going to score at 1/2 inch on either side. Please ignore that score line. I made a mistake, and it will be seen. So I'll try and sort something out with that now. I made a mistake. I forgot to cut it. They're both 11 inches long. If you wanted to make the smaller version, you would cut the paper, the card. This card would be 3 inches wide, and you're going to be scoring it still at 1/2 inch on either side, and this one would be 2 inches wide. So this one was 2 inches, and that was 3. But it's a 2-inch base on this one. How I worked it out, I put 3 inches for this side, and then there's 4 inches should be on either side. So I've scored it at 4 inches, turned it round and scored it at 4 inches. The same with this, I've scored it at 4 inches and 4 inches, so I'm left with 3 inches in the middle, because I've got 8 inches, well, total of 8 inches either side, so I've got 3 to make 11 inches. So that's why I made that. If you're making the smaller one, it's 8 inches long by 3 inches for this one and 2 inches for that one. So that's the difference. Also, what we'll also be doing is doing some scoring now. I might just see if I can get rid of, I'm going to press that down a little bit, see if I can just get rid of that line a little bit, because it will be seen and I don't want it to be there. So if you do that, you can possibly go over this and see if you can just get that out a little bit. Anyway, so we'll be scoring on these lines and this line. I made a little bit of a mistake because I cut here instead of scoring it, but never, it won't matter because I'm going to cut that bit off anyway, so that's fine. And then we're going to make a mark. We're going to make a mark at 1.5 inches, which is halfway along here. And I'm going to use my scoring tool. So I'm going to mark at 1.5 inches here. Here's the finer one. And I'm going to go down to, 1.5 inches. Hopefully you can see this. So try and make sure it's straight as possible from your mark. And you're going to go down to 1.5 inches and just a straight line down 1.5 inches. And then you're going to go from this score line here, so 1/2 inch in, down to the end of that point there. So we're going to go from this score line down to that center point there. You're going to do the same thing on here, from the score line to that point there. Okay, so that's how, hopefully you can see that okay. Yeah, so you've got this one and then you've got 2 triangles either side. You can do the same thing on the other end. So first of all, make a mark at 1.5 inches. I don't know what it is in centimetres, but I will try and work it out. If anybody wants it, please just ask. Put it in the comments if you want to know the in metric measurements, okay? And I will work that out for you. So down 1.5 inches from the corner there to the point there. There. And it's easier, well, I think it's easier if you're doing it on a slightly soft base. You could use your paper trimmer. I did try and use paper trimmer, but it's not always easy to see where to stop. So I ended up having a little bit of extra. It went down a bit too far when I did it before, so with one of the others. Okay, so that one's that one done. With the other piece, you again want to go down, you're going to be marking it again at 1.5 inches first. So 1.5 inches. Yeah, you're going to go down 1.5 inches. There we go. And then you're going to come this time from the corner, from the edge and down to that point. So it is easier if you've got a metal ruler, but if you haven't, don't worry, you can do it with a plastic ruler. It's not a problem. And the same thing, going from that centre point out to the corner. And then you do the same thing on the other end. So 1.5 inches. doing down 1.5 inches. Try to get that straight. And then from each corner to the end of the line. And the same thing to the other corner. Here we go. That's the red. There we go. So that's all my scoring done. So you can crease along the fold, the score lines. Now when you come to the top, the middle one goes in and the others come out. So it's mountains and valley fold. So you've got a valley fold and 2 mountains, and then you just get it to the end and pinch it so that it's, you don't need to crease it with a bone folder, but you want, that's how you want to the join to be, if you can see that. Okay, so you've got it like that, and then you do the same thing. So you come in, whoops, down there on the outside of there, and that one goes in. So you just push it together, pinch the tops together. This one's not as good as the other one, but it's fine. And go to the bottom, and that's how that one comes together. So that's this one. Now for the card piece, we're going to be cutting some pieces away. So we're going to cut the little triangles off these 4 corners and there, and then you're going to cut away to the end there, there, and there, and then you're going to cut along the score line to take that side piece out. Do the same thing there, so I can fold that backwards or forwards and cut along, hopefully you can see this, the score line here to cut that piece away. Okay, so you're left with this funny sort of shape here. So you've got a wider part here, you've got a smaller bit in the middle, and then you've got the wider part there with your 2 flaps on either side, and then you've got your 2 end pieces. Now let's just get rid of these, and those are folded in. So now we need to just, so this bit comes in, and that bit goes down in the middle. So you pull that together, the sides, and that is your fold there. Just pinch that, and the same thing with this one. That one comes down, that one comes down, and this bit goes in. So these 2 come together, and you just try to reinforce that piece there. So you've now got your fold there. Okay, so now we can start thinking about sticking it all together. So first of all, we need to put some glue on here. Actually, I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to put some glue on the underside of this. Actually, you need to cut that away a bit more. I don't know if you can see, but you can see the score line, and we need to get rid of that score line. Otherwise it might show when we're sticking it together, or it might just get in the way. So just get rid of that. There we go. So I'm going to put some glue on here. It doesn't have to go right to the edges, but don't want it too far away, but you don't want the glue to be oozing out either. Okay. You could put this on the bottom, or you could put it on the top. It doesn't really matter either way, but I'm putting it here on, so it's going to be on the inside. So you want to make sure that you get it as close as you can to the edges, and you line up your score line with the outside edges of this one so that they're all married up, and the same thing there. I don't know if you can actually see this, hopefully you can. So you've got the edge comes to the score line and the same thing over here as well. Should be, hopefully. Let's just see if we can move this slightly over. There we go. That will do. So there we are. That's fine. So we can push this, use my bone folder and just score that there. Pull this over, that one's fine. So those are going to come up there, and then this will come up here. Now we're going to stick these flaps onto the insides of these two flaps. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I think my camera's a little bit low, but if I try and alter it now, it'll be be a bit of a pain. So let's hopefully, we'll see if we can cope with this. So I'm going to use some of this Stampin' Seal Plus because it's a bit stronger. Could use some of the wet glue, but it doesn't always, it sometimes takes a little bit of time to dry, and I want this to work quickly. Now I did that. This is not working like it should do. So I've got some that have come over the edge of it, so I'm just going to push that over so that it doesn't, it's not on the outside when I fold it up. That will be okay. And the same thing here. Want to try and get this as close to the edge as I can. Anything that comes over, I'm just going to push back on itself and it should stick down there. Then the other side, just put my glue on ready. I think it's because this is not quite straight. That's better. I want it to be on the side, so I'm just going to push that back up again. Just so that I don't get any sticky on the outside. Don't want that. And there we have a little bit there. I think I might just put a little bit on the end just to make sure. And then on this side, just come down to the edge there. It should be fine. Don't think I've got too much. There we go. Right, so all we're going to do is to bring the two sides together and try and make sure that you bring the edges of the card and the paper so they come together nicely there. You can burnish it with a bone folder if you've got one, or a knife, or anything that you've got. Not the blade of the knife, obviously, but yeah. So we're going to do the same thing again. Bring the edges together so that they meet up, and then I'm going to use my bone folder again on the inside just to reinforce that. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So down there like that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to bring the two edges together. You've got a nice crease where it meets, and I'm going to put my bone folder in, and I'm just going to press down on that edge there. So I've just pushed that together, and the last one, put the two edges together and reinforce it by using my bone folder to make sure I've got it good. So it's all now stuck together. So you've got a bit like a cube, but these sides are slightly longer. And what we're going to do, these sides will just push in together. You should do. There we go. This one needs, perhaps I didn't do that one. And so they come together like that. But to keep them together, we need to use some cord or something. So I'm going to use some trim. I'm going to use the gold Simply Elegant trim, the gold here, but we need to make some holes, and the way that I've seen them done before, the holes need to be put on the insides of these triangles here. And what I did on these, I've put them on the outside of the triangles. So if you put them on the inside, they're not going to show, but I do need them to be near to the corners there. So I haven't got another hole punch, I've only got this one. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put a hole, hopefully you'll be able to see this, just towards the top of the corner, but not too close to the edge, because otherwise it might rip. So around about there, and the same thing on the other corner. And I'm going to put that hole there. Oh, that one is a bit too close, but never mind, we'll be all right. And then the same thing here, there, and I got this okay, yeah. And there, so those two, and then this one here, and one over here, here, and one here, and didn't come out, there we go, and one here on this side, not too close to the top, seem to keep going a bit close. About there. Oops, that one is close. So those are my holes. You want them reasonably close. If you've got a different hole punch, then please, so you won't see it from the outside, you can only see it, the cord will all be on the inside for this one. So now you can see both different ways of doing it. So I'm going to use this cord now. Often this cord is quite tightly wound, but this one's not too bad, so I don't need to try and straighten it. But if you do have some cord that's really tightly bound so that it stays still, you can just pull your nail across it like you would with a piece of ribbon and just straighten it out. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going in through the one hole and then out through there. I want to end up so that I have both ends coming out of this side of on my card rather than on my paper, only because it's a bit stronger. If you're just making it with designer, wrong way, if you're making with designer series paper, all of it, then it doesn't really matter which way you actually start or finish, as long as you finish on two inside pieces. So you've got in and out, in and out, and in and back out again. There we go. So I've now got my string. Now I've got too much string here, don't need that much. And you're just going to pull these together. So if you can see now, the string is going to be all on the inside. So if you want to put some nice treats inside, I would do it before you tie it up, because really to keep it tight, it's easier if you use a knot. I'm not going to use a knot this time. I'm going to see if I can do it without using a knot, but we will see how well it works. So I'm going to try and just tie the cord first, and I'm going to try and keep it as tight as possible while I tie a little bow. You could put a little tag on here, you can do whatever you want, and of course now this bow is going to disappear down inside, but that doesn't really matter. You can decorate it with tags, you can decorate it with whatever you want to decorate it. It's completely up to you. I'm going to cut end off there, and I'm going to just trim that little end off there, so just to make it look a bit neater. So that is the difference between putting the holes on the insides of the triangles rather than the outsides to this one. So I think it does look quite a lot neater this way rather than this way, because you don't really want to see those holes. You could, if you put a nice tag on there, if you made a nice tag to go with it, you wouldn't see the holes as much, but I think it looks better. It looks much neater like this. I didn't think it was going to, but it does. So now we know. So that is how I made these lovely little trick boxes. And again, this one is made exactly the same way, but with this one is the 3-inch size base, and this one's the 2-inch size base. And again, I only made 4 holes with this one. I didn't put holes in the designer series paper, only in the card. And so with this one, I think this one doesn't look too bad because there's not too much of a hole, too many holes in this one, and they're more evenly spaced as well. So you could get away with it with a smaller one, but I still think it would probably look neater if you had them on the inside rather than on the outside. And again, with this one, the base is 2 inches, so the sides are 3 inches long each side, so you've got an 8-inch strip. The designer series paper would have been 2 inches wide, and this one would have been 3 with a 1/2 inch either side scored, and that's what you stick the designer series paper onto. When you're doing this part, instead of 1.5 inches, which this one is only 1 inch. So you'd go across 1 inch, and then you would go mark it at 1 inch, go down 1 inch for this one, instead of going across 1.5 and down 1.5 as well. Okay, and then you would again go from the sides to do your 2 triangles on each side, on each end. Okay, so it's exactly the same process, it's just slightly smaller pieces of paper or card that you're using. So if you were making these, you could make, so if these are 11 inches and they're 3 inches wide, so you could make 4 out of a sheet of designer series paper. You would probably only be able to make 2 out of a sheet of A4 card. With this one, you could, if they're only 8 inches, you could, and they're only 2 inches, you could make 6, possibly 7 out of a sheet of designer series paper, and you could probably get 5 out of a sheet of card as well. So you could make quite a few of these without using up too much of your paper stocks as well. And again, you can decorate it, you can add tags, you can add a label or something. I've seen them decorated all different ways, but I think it looks quite nice. You could add little bells, you could add lots of different decorations to it, but that was what I wanted to show you tonight. So thank you if you have been able to join me. Hello, thanks for joining me, and I will see you again soon, hopefully possibly on Friday, I'm not sure, we will see. I've got some friends coming over on Saturday this week, so I've got some preparations to do for that as well. But hopefully I'll be able to make it on here on Friday as well, so I will see you then. Otherwise, I will try and put another post up on Wednesday with another project in between. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.